What's good, YouTube? Welcome back. Today it is Lazy Daze Tubby and I'm back at it again on my solo channel, and I'm doing some more history reaction for you guys today, and it is some more Kings and Generals content for you, but it is a new series and it is the Mongol invasions, and we're starting off with episode 1 for you guys today, the Mongols, Rise of the Empire. I'm really looking forward to finding out some more about the Mongol history. It is definitely one of my more favoured types of history. I am very interested in the Mongol culture in general, and one that isn't sort of spoken about too much over here in Western culture. So I'm definitely looking forward to finding out some more about this. So if you guys haven't already, head over to Kings and Generals page. They make some amazing content. I am looking forward to finding out what they've got for me in this series. If you guys are looking forward to my reaction to this series, then like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But we are just going to jump straight into this one.
This video was sponsored by the Great Courses Plus. One of the most hard places often breed hard people, and Mongolia is one of the most inhospitable lands in the world. This is the story of the people who came out of the steppes and built the biggest empire in history. This is the story of Temujin and how he became Genghis Khan. The history of the eastern part of the Asian steppe is shrouded in mystery, and so the early history of the Mongols is still debated.
Okay.
At the beginning of the 10th century, the Proto-Mongolic Khitan people formed an empire called the Great Liao. The Khitans fought many wars in Korea, China and Central Asia, but by 1125 were defeated by the Chinese Jin Dynasty and moved to establish a new Khitan state called Western Liao. To the north, in modern-day Mongolia, a number of nomadic tribes united in a tribal confederation called Kamag Mongol, which can be translated as Whole Mongol. One of the clans within the confederacy was the Beijing, and its representatives were elected the Khans of the Union multiple times in the
So I know the basics of the story. I know Temujin is obviously Genghis Khan, I believe. His wife was taken, and he also become friends with a noble Mongol clan, and then basically from there is when it started to go a bit sour, because Temujin, Genghis Khan, kept on getting more power, and obviously more frictions sort of gained. So I know the basic story, so I'm just looking forward to finding out a lot more of the details.
12th century. Kamag Mongol was in a long-term rivalry with the Tatar Confederacy, which also nomadized in the region. This struggle weakened the Mongols, and their confederacy almost ceased to exist in the second half of the 12th century.
Oh, really?
The chief of the Beijing clan at the time, Yehuling, was trying to reunite the tribes once again. In 1171, he arranged a marriage between his 9-year-old son Temujin and the daughter of the chief of a nearby clan, Borta. Some sources claim that Yehuling was poisoned by the Tatars during the wedding. Temujin attempted to assume the role of chieftain, but he was rejected and exiled with his family.
Okay.
For the next 6 years, Temujin lived in poverty and was even enslaved on occasion. Eventually, Temujin started forming his tribe with the help of his blood brother Jamuka and the leader of the Kherate tribe, Togrul Khan. Temujin and Jamuka raided other tribes together, but eventually...
So Jamuka is the like clan, the noble clan leader of a different Mongol tribe, right?
They had a falling out. Jamuka supported the traditional Mongolian aristocracy, while Temujin gave positions of power to capable people outside his tribe. Threatened by Temujin's rise in popularity, Jamuka attacked him in 1187 with an army of 30,000 men. Temujin's 20,000 men were decisively beaten at the Battle of Dalan Belzut. Not much is known about Temujin's life in the next 10 years. But in 1197, we see him commanding a united force of the Mongols, the Kherates, in the war against the Tatars initiated by the Jin Dynasty.
Right.
Temujin would avenge his father in this conflict. The leaders of the Tatar tribes were executed, while the non-aristocrats were invited to join his ranks.
Okay.
He delegated authority.
That's another thing I just want to quickly mention as well. The one thing I like was the ability for Genghis Khan and the Mongols to see the worth in other people. Like if they were good engineers or if they brought something to the Mongol Empire, they would recruit them on instead of just willingly killing them. And I believe they were quite accepting with other religions, right?
Based on skill and loyalty rather than tribal affiliation or blood. As an incentive, Temujin promised civilians and soldiers a portion of the war spoils. His new rules laid the foundations of a code of law which would eventually be developed and applied to his empire. His father's death influenced Temujin, and one of the laws was that hospitality was sacred. Guests and envoys should not be harmed.
That was it as well. He made a golden pass for envoys along the Silk Road as well, right?
Temujin revolutionized the steppe world. Each victory brought more warriors to his side, and he reformed the Mongols into an army. The decimal system was implemented, and the army was divided into tens, hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s.
Wow.
Transfers between the units were forbidden, and if one man deserted, the other 9 in his unit were put to death. Commanders were chosen by their men, except for the commanders of the 10,000s.
That I like. The fact that the commanders, the men choose their leaders. That's a good trait, you know. That way, you know you're going to have you're trusted by your men because you were put there.
So-called tumans, who were handpicked by the Khan himself. This chain of command allowed flexibility, discipline, and loyalty, and was vital to performing sophisticated maneuvers. Every able-bodied man had to be a part of this structure. In 1201, a number of opposing clans called a council, Kurultai in the Mongolian language, and declared Jamuka the Khan. This sparked a 5-year war between him and Temujin, and the latter managed to defeat his former blood brother at the Battle of the 13 Sides. That same year, Temujin assembled another council of the Mongol chiefs, who elected him as their leader, giving him the title of Genghis Khan, the leader of all. For the first time, the warring tribes united as one nomadic nation, under one banner and one authority. In 1209, the Mongols began their first invasion against the powerful Liao dynasty to the southwest. The details of this conflict are not clear, but it seems that Genghis Khan was successful in open battles, but had difficulties taking the well-fortified cities. The Mongols learned the importance of siege warfare in this campaign. The surrounded cities slowly succumbed to starvation and diseases, and the Liao emperor had to submit to Genghis Khan and become his vassal. Up until this point, the Jin Dynasty underestimated the Mongols as a nuisance on their northern border, and even refused.
So I can see there. Is this when the China had 2 dynasties? It looks like the Jin and the Song. Were they going through the civil war? I thought that wasn't until a bit later. I might be wrong.
Used a call to aid by the Liao, but by 1211 they were on high alert. They even demanded Mongol submission, which led to war. In March 1211, Genghis Khan summoned all Mongol chieftains and prepared to wage war against China.
Doesn't work though, does it?
The Jin had a massive population and mobilized around...
Yeah, I'm 90% sure it's not Genghis Khan who gets this part of China. It's one of his sons.
Around 800,000 infantry, most of which were untrained peasants with low morale, and 150,000 highly trained heavy cavalry. This vast army, however, was spread across the Great Wall and garrisoned separate fortresses. Meanwhile, the Mongols had a 90,000-strong cavalry army, which had 3 main components: light cavalry scouts, horse archers armed with composite bows, and heavy cavalry armed with lances and curved swords. All of these men were highly trained and loyal. After they bypassed the hopelessly ineffective Great Wall, the Mongols split into 2 armies. The main army was led by the Great Khan himself and was 60,000 strong, while the other 30,000 were taken by his son Ogedei to attack the city of Datong. Genghis Khan headed for the strategic Juyong Pass protecting Beijing, but along the way he was stopped at the pass of Yehuling, where the bulk of the Jin army awaited him. For months the Mongols waited for the Jin to make a move, but they held their ground. While waiting, Genghis sent his trusted generals Jebe and Subutai to lead a small force which attacked the western front from the rear in the Battle of Wuxia Fortress. The Jin army and their commander were annihilated. Once the secondary army quickly grouped up with the main force, which was still waiting in Yehuling, the Mongols attacked the defenders in the mountainous terrain and pushed the Jin forces back. Genghis sent men over the peaks surrounding the pass, which the Jin generals thought was impassable, and attacked the much larger army from both sides.
Nice! Strong Genghis.
Jebe, one of the best Mongol generals, used the trademark Mongol tactic of a feigned retreat. After a short skirmish, the Mongols pretended to flee, leaving loot as they fled. The Jin defenders took the bait and left their fortifications trying to chase them down. Little did they know they were falling into a deadly trap, where thousands of them were attacked from all sides by Mongol archers.
Wow.
With the gates of China now open, Genghis Khan began raiding the countryside before he withdrew for the winter. The following year, the Mongols struck again, only this time they besieged Datong, where Genghis was wounded by an arrow.
Oh, really?
The city held out against the invaders, who once again retreated for the winter, this time with even more knowledge about their enemy and siege warfare.
Nice. Again, like I said, his ability to sort of adapt and gain more information.
13, when the Mongols invaded again, their mobility prevented the Jin from organizing a successful resistance as their countryside was raided. The Mongols began besieging multiple fortresses and cities and waited for the enemy to attempt to break the siege, only to be ambushed and defeated.
Ah, very smart.
The Mongols were fighting guerrilla warfare within a foreign land. The cities that surrendered...
Fighting a guerrilla warfare but in a foreign land. I've never heard that before. That's so cool and so interesting when it's put like that. Wow.
It had most of their inhabitants murdered or enslaved. However,
he was ruthless, I know that much.
Engineers, artisans, merchants, doctors, teachers, priests and administrators were spared and asked to join the Mongol horde. Many others were taken and used as meat shields for the following sieges, marching in the vanguard.
I do remember that detail as well. Captured enslaved people that weren't useless were used as screen and fodder, especially in sieges.
To block arrows or discourage the archers from firing. After securing all Jin lands north of the Yellow River, Genghis moved against the capital of Beijing and besieged it. The Mongols tried to starve the city out, but after a few months an epidemic spread through their camp and they had to negotiate with the Jin Emperor Xuanzong. He agreed to peace in exchange for a tribute of loot, men, horses and his daughter, along with subjugation to the Mongol Khan.
Imagine having to give your daughter away. Imagine having to give your daughter away.
Thus, the Mongols left China and returned to Mongolia with their treasure. But just outside the Great Wall, a messenger galloped to Genghis Khan. The emperor had moved his court to Kaifeng to the south. This enraged the Great Khan, as it signaled that the Jin planned to retaliate. The Mongols quickly returned to Beijing and besieged the city with the help of thousands of Chinese engineers.
Oh, okay.
The city was surrounded, breached, and razed. For weeks, thousands of carts hauled loot back to Mongolia. The fires in the city burned for over a month, while its people were massacred. What was once considered a nuisance had brought a 20 million strong nation to its knees. And now, the Mongol devastation was heading west.
and we will be finding out more about what's happening with the Mongol Empire in the next episode. I really enjoyed that, and I'm definitely looking forward to finding out some more of the battles and the great conquests Genghis Khan has done throughout his time, and also to the predecessors that come after him. If you guys are looking forward to my reaction, then like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But we are just going to jump straight. I'm going to see you in the next video.